Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Sprites of Life podcast. I'm Lucas,
I'm Chris.
and Don had to work on stuff, so he'll be here in a little bit. So don't worry, we got Don. We were able to book Don still. We're all good. I think our podcast can survive a few minutes, right?
Don will be here. We promise. We're not keeping him away from you.
How you been, man?
Oh, I'm good. I got to go to a marlin competition. Marlin fishing, not like who's the best marlin.
Okay, I mean, like, who would be the best Marlin?
I learned that there are multiple types of marlin,
Mm-hmm. I
and
mean, the
I did
one
not.
guy who would know that is waiting is busy. So tell me.
Well, like there's like blue marlin and white marlin, and all. I mean, it makes sense. I would have assumed that, but I just didn't know, and I learned a lot about marlin in the brief day that I was down at this tournament.
That's really cool. I mean, I
They're
haven't done
also
anything.
huge.
Oh yeah, no, they're massive creatures. They are absolutely gigantic. I'm glad you got a chance to see them. Honestly, I didn't do much. I did get a Switch 2. I was able to grab
Mm.
one. First time in my life ever gotten a console, like right off the bat, gotta say. It's nice to play Pokemon when it doesn't stutter.
So is there an actual like noticeable difference?
Oh my god, yes. Oh
Okay.
my actual living god, yes. It is amazing to play a game that doesn't stutter and try to die on you. Like, oh wow. I mean, I can't even imagine what people playing ZA on the Switch is gonna look like. That's gonna look like butts. But
That that's my target date for getting my Switch 2 is.
I mean, hopefully they have enough of them. What I was thinking was that with I don't know, with like all the stuff I was just binge watching on Netflix while I was like playing around and stuff and getting the Switch all loaded up. And apparently, while I was doing a YouTube dive, I realized that in a few days it'll be the second anniversary of the Titan sub accident. The only reason I learned that was because there was like a 60-minute interview with James Cameron that popped up on my feed, and it was just like, you know, we don't talk as much about the deep ocean as we should, and I know that seems weird given all the stuff with the Titan, but I kind of wanted to just cruise in and talk about the ocean because that's kind of what I love to talk about, and some of the weird creatures Pokemon put into the game. Because I'll be honest, most of them are from Hoenn, but I think they did a pretty good job talking a little bit about the deep ocean. Have you ever gone diving or anything like that?
I have gone snorkeling, so no.
Okay, have you ever wanted to go diving into the deep ocean? Pull a James
No.
Cameron.
No.
No? Don't want to go down
Zero
there?
zero interest.
Okay, we'll see if we can change your mind, but we do have some science news to get to. So, really quickly, um have you ever considered going to Antarctica?
I mean, I've considered that more than going deep sea diving.
Okay, so this was something that was really interesting. So, if you were to think about things that would affect Antarctica, like things that would make it like not good anymore, like with people visiting, what are the first things that pop in your head?
Like what would make it not enticing for people to visit?
Or most so, how could people mess it up?
Oh, chipping off glaciers, littering,
Hmm.
disturbing local wildlife.
Yeah, turns out that last one was one we were doing kind of on accident.
Hmm.
So there are more and more people who are taking cruise ships to Antarctica. And while the rules are really important on the ice, like, hey, don't do this, don't do that, when it comes to where the ships are anchoring, that's turned into a problem. They were using underwater cameras at about 36 locations during the summer months there in 2022 and 2023, and they found tons of damage from all the ships that had been anchored there over the years. And this is a really delicate ecosystem. Like, there are literally just giant sponges and a bunch of other things down there that can't really move. And if you're just dropping anchors, like, it was one of the things that was just overlooked as an ocean conservation issue. And why would you even think of it? Like, when you think about anchors, a lot of people forget that no, it's basically just a weight you're throwing in the ocean and hope it doesn't crack into something. So it's pretty bad.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like it's a good thing.
Well, it's one of those issues you have when it comes to any sort of green tourism. What's more damaging? Having the creature in a human care where people can visit easily, or sending a bunch of people out to the native environment to go look at it? That
Yeah.
green tourism can be very disturbing to animals, and this is a good sign of it. So we got to find ways. I mean, I don't think we can stop people from visiting Antarctica, but we have to start thinking a little bit more about how it's done when it comes to green tourism, when you go to it and all that stuff. I mean, they were doing a great job in everything else.
Yeah.
Just forgot
Well,
about the
it's like
anchors.
okay. It's just like, yeah, okay, you found out that you're maybe doing something not so great, so you learn from it and you do better. Yeah.
But like that's the only real. I mean, all the other science news, as per usual, is like, wow, this is really depressing. This one's at least a manageable depressing, like
Yeah.
something we can work with. Now, as far as gaming news goes, I mean, we had Summer Games Fest, and that was pretty cool. Like, I mean,
Yes.
okay, don't get me wrong, I it's not as great as the E3 days, and this one was a little bit more. Well, they noted that there weren't as many AAA games out there, which kind of speaks to the industry as a whole of like the AAA studios aren't exactly kicking it pretty well out there, you know?
Yeah, it's been a little well, it's been a little quiet.
It's been a little quiet, but also like all the layoffs with things like EA and
Yeah.
Ubisoft and cancellation after cancellation. Really, EA loves nothing more than killing Titanfall 3. I'm convinced that it is their favorite thing in the world.
It's
But
so sad.
did you see anything that caught your eye?
I will say a Resident Evil game always catches my eye.
Oh yeah, we're going back to Raccoon City.
I've been hit or miss in my actual playings of them, but I very much enjoy the franchise of Resident Evil.
I mean, it's horror was never my game, but I love what the Resident Evil fan base will do the second time any Resident Evil game comes out. I watched the Sony State of Play. I got more information on my Digimon game. Now I learned that it's coming out. The new Digimon game is coming out October 3rd, and now we know that ZA is coming out like 2 weeks later. So I'm like, oh, perfect. I have all the October's gonna be busy. I have all the fun I need.
All the
Um,
tiny little monsters.
I have all the creatures to collect. Some of them have guns. I'm so happy. Oh god, I'm is it wrong to say I'm more excited for Digimon than ZA? Do I get my Pokemon tattoo skinned off me if I say that?
You're allowed to be excited by whatever you want to be excited by.
Hey guys, what I miss?
There he is. There's the guy. We talked about Antarctica being filled with tourists and anchors, and did you watch Summer Games Fest?
I actually have not. I've seen random trickles. I know some people were upset and some people were excited, like every other Games Fest or announcement ever.
I mean, I got to see my Digimon stuff, so I'm happy. Chris got to see Resident Evil. Were there any trickles you saw that were like, that's all right?
Um, I saw there was like, is this where I heard about the Resident Evil, and I thought I saw something about like maybe like an Invincible fighting game or something.
Oh yes, there is an Invincible fighting game coming
But I'm
out.
trash at those. I'll have
Yeah.
to see how that looks. I do
Also for
enjoy them when
fighting
going really
games,
bad.
yeah, I try, but my friends are better. Marvel is tying up with Arc Systems instead of Capcom to make a Marvel's fighting game,
Okay, I saw
and
some
it's
memes about this that make a lot more sense now.
yeah, no, it's like the memes are pretty solid. It's basically like some people are calling the game Marvel minus Capcom. Uh, oh god, it's really funny because I mean, for those who know, Marvel and Capcom have gone hand in hand since the '90s, but now they just kind of broke up. It's been it was a cool trailer. I'm real excited, but like I just feel real bad for Capcom because it's just like this was your thing and it ain't there no more. Although it was fun to watch the fighting game community lose their collective minds. That was a
They
good
haven't.
time.
When was the last Marvel Capcom game though?
Marvel versus Capcom Infinite. That one did not do well because it came out at the same time, ironically, as Arc System's last game, which was Dragon Ball Fighters. Sorry, it came out before with Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Then they released Guilty Gear Strive, and now it's a Marvel token. So Arc Systems does some of the finest fighting games ever. They're the best at what they do. Always good, always stylistic, very anime, but always very good at what they do. I mean, I'm excited. I'm ready to see what the gaming community has. I just know I have a really, really busy October coming up, so I might as well start saving
Yes.
up a little bit.
And we also now know that we will be getting the final ZA update on July 22nd.
Yes, I am
That
so
is
excited
exciting.
for that. I'm
It,
excited because I just need some more stuff to go for the drag. Every time I do any of the panels, I'm like, I want up-to-date information. Please give me something I can work with here.
I am really wondering if ZA is going to give abilities because Legends of Arceus did not, if I remember right. So if we have megas, some of them are going to be pretty sad without their abilities. They're just kind of be guys.
They're just gonna be like bigger guys.
Like Mega Mawile, Mega Medicham without huge power are kind of just not very good.
I mean, Megas Kangaskhan, what do you bring to the fight? I bring this small child. And that's it. Look at him. So, we are talking about the deep ocean. And we should probably state that the ocean, for those who did not know, is very deep. Okay, if you had to just guess, how deep do you think the deepest point of the ocean we've been to?
That we've been to, or how deep it is?
Let's go with how deep we've been to. Like, we've been to pretty much the deepest point.
Maybe like a couple miles.
Don?
It's a little over 35,000 feet, right?
35,756 feet, or 10,898 meters. It's a lot.
How many miles is that?
About 7.
Yeah,
6
so
or 7
like,
miles down.
not a lot. That's
I
not a
mean,
lot of miles.
It is for
dude.
water.
Yeah,
No, I
are
mean,
you out of your mind?
No. You're not. You're thinking of it in that context, but think about it in the context of like the average listener and their context for like miles. 7
Okay,
miles is not that far. 7 miles straight down into the ocean is very far when you start adding in like pressure and pressure changes and all that. Yes, absolutely. But in the grand scheme of like space, 7 miles isn't that big.
That is the most unhinged thing you've ever said on this podcast. It's not that deep. Like, are you insane?
I'm not saying that is not like but like 7 miles is not that far.
Okay, all right. You
Oh,
know what?
really? Only horizontally, vertically, or either. It's only one. I would say it's only not that far on one axis.
Isn't the distance between the worlds like the deepest part of the ocean and the highest part on the highest surface on Earth? Isn't it like 10 miles or something?
It's a lot, man. Like, if you're falling or going up. All right, the point is, it do be deep.
Well,
It's a
Mount
deep
Everest is what, 16,000 feet?
Yeah, give or take. You could literally drop Mount Everest into the Marianas Trench, and you'd still have a mile of more water above it.
The difference between those two is 65,000.
No, sorry, no, 29,000 feet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
The difference between them is 65,000 feet.
it's a lot, man. Like, it's a lot. And
But
keep in mind,
no, it's what like that's only 12 miles. I understand that horizontal is different than vertical, and a lot changes when you go vertically as opposed to horizontally. But I think that's super cool that it's only 12 miles.
and yet somehow with that 12 miles, we have more active astronauts than people who've been down to the Marianas Trench to the Challenger Deep. Like, that's like that thing sink in. No matter how close you're trying to call it, we have more people willing to get out into space where we know there's no life like just floating around out there next to our planet, and we are to get people down to the depth. Like, that place, it ain't safe. Let's say that you were starting a dive. Like, you went down there, you were like, all right, I want to go look at the stuff. Well, as you get down there,
Well, first, I
you
would
are
direct the film Titanic.
First, I would be James Cameron.
First, you'd be James Cameron. But, like, just if you're like a dude, if you wanted to go and look at stuff underwater, even with like well, let's say a good submersible, the sunlight zone really only stretches down to about 656 feet, about 200 meters. That is where most ocean life that we know of lives. So it's nice. There's enough sunlight that pierces through. Depending on like the clear day, it can go deeper than that, but it's almost never going to get down to past 200 meters. When it comes to things like leatherback sea turtles, certain whale species, they will tend to forest a little bit below that in what is known as the twilight zone. So that is anywhere from 201 to 1,000 meters or to about 3,300 feet down. Now, it's important to know that when you're talking about pressure, once you honestly just going down 40 or 50 feet, you'll start noticing some changes. And that's all because every time you dive down about 10 meters, you are adding another atmosphere of pressure. And an atmosphere of pressure is about 14.7 pounds per square inch. So imagine if every time you went 10 meters down, another set of dumbbells was put on you, and another, and another, and another. This is why it's so dangerous. Like, it's not just the water or the lack of oxygen. It's literally the weight of the water crushing you.
You're not free diving there.
Well, I mean,
What,
like,
what
hang
is
on.
the depth?
The deepest
Oh,
free dive. The deepest free
okay.
dive
Well, there's the
ever.
weighted no limits, and there's the ones without that. There's several categories. There's one where they're strapped like a lead sled, and I think it's like 700 feet.
Yeah, there was one. The deepest single breath free dive was 702 feet. I don't know how they got him back up, but
Oh no, the no limits record's 831.
all right. So if I'm looking at our handy dandy chart I have here, yeah, no, you're not making it past the twilight. Like, you're barely making it into the twilight zone before your body just is not able to keep up at
Yeah, so
all.
this is the no limit style freediving. It's strictly like more of a breath hold and equalization thing. You hold onto a sled down, and then you can use a balloon to get back up.
Which is like crazy to me given the chance of getting the bends, but like,
Well, you kind of don't when you stay on a single breath because your body isn't being like repressurized at different depths in
oh,
the
I
same
see
way
what you're
that you would on
saying.
scuba. Like freediving, you can descend to 100 feet and pop right back up with zero issues.
Yeah, it's still like
And you
crazy,
can
but like,
rupture your lungs.
yeah, but like with human beings, it's nothing. But for the ocean creatures, like we know there's tons of things living down there, but they have to be really flexible in order to deal with it. There are plenty of animals that live down there. A lot of them have a lot of really cool adaptations. They don't have any gas-filled sacs that could be ruptured with the pressure. They usually have pretty flexible bones or other body parts. Um, Bioluminescence is where this picks up quite a bit, either to attract or distract different animals. So we do have tons of things out there, but most of them aren't super big. Like, don't
They're
get me
kind
wrong,
of
we're gonna talk about at least.
cartoonishly small.
Yeah, I mean, there's slight examples. Every time we mention this, there's someone typing, "Well, what about the giant squid?" And it's like they're they're cool, but they're squishy. Like, there's not a lot of super big things down there, and very few of them are ever going to be like, there's not a lot of them. It's a very
There's some.
small amount comparatively.
It is weird because deep sea gigantism is a phenomenon we see with certain things, and everything else gets really small. It seems like fish get really teeny, and soft stuff gets really big,
Yeah, and we'll
and
talk a bit
isopods.
more. Yeah, we got the isopods. Don't worry, we got them for the end. But the deepest we've ever found an animal down there was a snailfish, and I believe they found it at about 8,000 meters down. That is right in what's known as the midnight zone. That is the deepest we've ever found an animal. But we have found bacteria. We found microbes living down at near the bottom of the ocean in the Marianas Trench, and this was like 30,000 feet down. Like, so we do know life can exist there, even if the world falls apart, even if, I don't know, something crazy happens. There's a good chance that life will survive because it's so deep down, it's basically a bunker. Most of the animals out there also don't hunt as much as they just wait for the snow to fall. And by snow, I mean the dead, which is a little gross when you think about it, but like if you're down in the ocean, like you'll see it in people doing submersible videos. It just looks like it's snowing, and that's all just dead matter from animals that have passed away. Like, it's a real creepy stuff,
Yeah.
but kind of cool. Noah has done a lot of work when it comes to teaching about the deep ocean. Not only are they funding and doing science, but I actually was part of a program where they taught teachers how to teach about the deep ocean and the cool things to teach about deep ocean. And they talked about all the different things we can learn from them, all the different resources we can pick up from all of this, different things about robotics. There's a lot that can be learned by studying the deep ocean. And I love that Pokemon, kind of threw their hand at it. I mean, they based Gen 3 on Okinawa. So, of course, they were going to have a dive mechanic. But I really, before we get to like the actual Pokemon, I feel like it should be noted that when you're diving in Pokemon, you're not going down that deep. Anyone want to take a guess as to how deep you think we go in Gen 3?
50 feet.
50 feet? Don, what do you think?
I don't know the depth.
I checked how much light it takes for kelp to grow. And that was where my metric was. Because you see, seagrass can only live with the water that's about 3 to 6 feet. But kelp can make it down to close to 100 feet. So you were probably, your character at most was diving only 100 feet down. So they never
Can
made
I
it to the deep.
make a argument for it maybe being deeper?
Go for it.
So what if it's not kelp? What if it's a deep water coral? Because deep water corals are soft and kind of wavy.
Oh, there's something
They
to be
also have
said
way.
about
It's
that.
also scary because they have way stronger nematocysts. They're closer to a jellyfish because they don't really have the photosynthetic algae. They just sting the hell out of everything. So what if
Yeah,
your character is playing just bobbing and weaving
I feel
around
like
just giant venomous corals?
I feel like that's just a lot of light though for
I know. I just want it to
Yeah.
be annoying.
No, you got a point. But when it comes to the diving mechanics in Pokemon, obviously they were never going to make them like, oh, you got to stay down this long before you get the bends. I mean, at least in the new games, they gave you the decency of a rebreather instead of just throwing your character on top of a shadow. However, if you were going to go diving with a Pokemon, I had the list right here. Like, if you guys want to pull up, let's see, like the dive move in Pokemon. What Pokemon do you think would be the best and the worst Pokemon to dive with?
Let me pull up the
uh
list.
are you talking about like that would help you dive, or like that would facilitate a good dive, or just one that would be fun to go with?
Yeah, just grab a dude and go underwater. Like, there's a
Not a
few of
lot
them
of
that are.
dudes learn dive in Gen 9, I've just learned.
No, they don't. It's just
Are
water
we
dig.
are we limiting it to just ones that get up naturally, or TM's move tutor's cool?
Nah, TMs and mood tutors. Let's have some fun with it. We're not like that persnickety.
I guess you wouldn't want to dive with something that is not water type. I think melodic would be good.
Melodic would be good. I think melodic, Finnison or Palafin would be the best. I think just because they're, actually going to pay attention. Although dolphins can't hold their breath that long. So,
Yeah.
that might be a problem. I already found the worst.
We'll
think
see
the
about
absolute-
that.
I know. I'll tell you what the worst is.
What's the worst?
Urshifu. You go diving with a bear.
Oh, it's not even dive. It literally just jumps in the water and drags you down with it.
It's using it's just surgic striking into the water repeatedly.
It's not even swimming. It's just punching the water out of the way perpetually. For me, I mean, I was gonna say the worst would be Slowpoke because you're like, hey, buddy, I'm running out of air. Buddy. Although I think what would be the most unique was if you just like, hey, Palkia, let's go.
Yeah. Actually, you know who'd actually be really good too is Lugia.
Yeah.
I've seen
I
that
mean,
movie.
yeah, I've seen that. The movie
He goes
told me
thick
that was a good
tornado
idea.
mode.
That'd be sick.
All right, so my worst is Dracloak. The middle. One, because it's not very big, and two, it's a ghost. So I'd imagine like riding would be a problem.
Better or worse than bear?
Well, and it's already dead, so it has no concept of needing to breathe at all.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Urshifu is just again.
Is Urshifu? Are you like riding on his back like a piggyback ride, or is he like cradling you like a bride on a threshold?
No, he's just dragging you. He just grabbed you by the leg.
Grabs you by the collar.
Yeah, come on, we're going.
All right. Best. I'm gonna pick a non-water type. At first, I was gonna say Gastrodon because it'd be funny, but Storm Drain might like absorb the ocean. I'm not sure how that'll work. Rayquaza would be pretty sweet because he's got airlock, so I'd imagine you're gonna have an air pocket, and he's probably still really fast.
That's a good point.
He'd probably be really happy that there's more things to kill down here than in the sky. That
Yeah,
would be nice.
but if you go in water too cold and like there's any ice chunks, he'll just probably die instantly, and you'll drown. So I guess there's that.
Nice to balance that out. All right, so now that we have our diving buddies, we got now. Admittedly, like I said in the beginning, most of the deep sea Pokemon are from Gen 3. So once again, Gen 3 Supremacy for the win. But I think the best deep sea Pokemon we ever got was Huntail. And I mean, almost every Dex entry talks about it being a deep sea Pokemon, and it makes sense that you don't see them when you're diving in the game because unless you're done with your deep sea coral, these animals would not live anywhere near the surface. So Chris, any guesses as to what this thing is based on?
So I mean, I had to guess like maybe like an eel.
It is based on an eel. It is based specifically on something called the pelican or gulper eel. If you've never seen a gulper eel before, it is rather unsettling. But usually, when you show them with deep sea stuff, they tend to pop up a little bit.
They're really
There
funny
you
though when
go.
their face is inflated. They're really funny looking. So there is that.
See, this is the one. This is the picture I found.
Yeah. Okay, I think I found the one where I found a picture of it where it's kind of deflated. Hang on, let me see if I can just get that there. It just blew.
Yeah, it just looks like a squirm.
Yeah, but they've done tests, and the mouth can take up 1/4 of its body. The
Nice.
whole thing is basically just meant to gulp down whatever it can find.
I found the one I was looking for.
He got something good on that one. Oh, he's so happy.
Well, if I remember right, this is a video. I'll try to find the full video. It's I think the channel might be Nautilus, and they post a lot of deep sea videos, and it's some researchers observing this. And at first they can't tell what it is, because he's all puffed up and floating
That's-
weird. And then they think he may be puffed up defensively because they're like all of a sudden he opens his mouth and just smushes himself into a little stick, and zooms off.
I'll try and put a little bit of it into like the episode just so people can see it, but like it's pretty good. I love that Huntail is basically just this. Like everything it does in the game is almost entirely right. I mean, like Huntail even has the glowing tail, which is something that gulper eels do have. They have a bioluminescent tail that is meant to attract prey. I will say the game suggests that they have a very thick spine, which makes it like easier for them to live. And it's like, no, you got to be squishier than that. I mean, look at this dude. He's all squish. You wouldn't even
Yeah.
think he was a vertebrate unless you knew what he was. But they also got the eyes wrong. Their eel eyes are supposed to be small, yada yada. But like, it's all for design choice. And I think that Huntail, I mean, he looks good. Like, I think he's one of my favorite designs for like a deep sea Pokemon, just because of how perfect they made him in comparison to his reference. Is Huntail any good in a fight?
So one, I will say Huntail is way bigger than gulper eels are. I think a big gulper eel is like maybe a meter. Huntail's a little bigger than that, and also Huntail weighs like 60 pounds.
Yeah, Huntail's big. It's thick.
Yeah, big boy.
So Huntail is not very good, I will say. I do really like Huntail, and it does learn Shell Smash.
There's a
It
boon.
just
There's
breaks
something.
breaks its spine.
Well, Clamperl gets it.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm looking at its stats. They are not the best. It has Swift Swim, which doesn't really work when you're base 50 speed. I think Gorebyss is actually a little better. I think it's faster, and it benefits more from Shell Smash. However, of the three, the scariest one is actually Clamperl.
Explain yourself.
So you know how to involve Clamperl, you need the Deep Sea Tooth or the Deep Sea Scale, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they also act as hold items for Clamperl. If I remember right, I think in the original that game they don't say they're evolution items either. Just that they boost the special attack or the attack stats of Clamperl. Deep Sea Tooth doubles Clamperl's special attack stat. As in like its actual special attack stat, kind of like how huge power works.
Jesus.
So
Yeah,
Clamperl is stupid.
Yes. So Clamperl actually hits incredibly hard with the Deep Sea Tooth.
I mean, as much as I love Huntail, I gotta say, I don't really care for Gorebyss.
Snipe eel or snipe fish.
Yeah, it's a snipe eel. But like with snipe eels, they're like not meant to eat like that. like if you haven't read the Dex entry, Gorebyss sucks out body fluid from its prey and changes colors with the warming of the seasons. That second part's fine. Animals change color and texture all the time when it comes to reproductive seasons or what have you. But it's the sucking body fluid out of its prey that I'm like, where did y'all get the idea for this? I don't
Do the eels not do that?
know. They don't do that. That's not like a thing that I don't think any animal really does. Oh, a spider. Like technically a spider would do it, like just by melting their insides and drinking it up. But like the Dex entry also talks about how tough they are, given they can survive extreme pressure. But in real life, I mean, take one of these deep sea fish, try bringing it up to the surface, see what happens.
Oh, so
Nothing
just
great.
very unrelated, but also so we all know Incineroar is a bulky Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So max HP, 68 special defense Incineroar versus Clamperl holding a Deep Sea Tooth without a boosting item using Surf, is a guaranteed one-hit KO for Clamperl.
People need to be running Clamperl.
Clamperl is not in the game.
Oh, that's why they're afraid of his power. Is that
I will say, if Clamperl gets a Shell Smash off, it one-shots Urshifu.
with what?
Hydro Pump.
Oh, okay.
Well, Surf actually has a 93% chance to KO.
That's stupid.
Yeah. I'm just kind of like derailed at this point because I had a whole list going and then you just drop up with like, oh yeah, Clamperl wrecks the world.
I'm sorry.
You gotta follow me, buddy. No, it's good. This is exactly why you're here, because no one knew that. And then you showed up. And now we do. The Clamperl meta will rise.
Did anybody in Gen 3, Don, did anybody do anything with Clamperl?
I don't think then. I think, well, Shell Smash didn't exist until, I think, Gen 5. But there was a few. I don't know if that's had any big tournament results, but I remember seeing like things about it. Or there'd be like a clip video of someone just getting wrecked by a Clamperl. I think it has been brought to tournaments though in some very niche scenarios. It would actually be it would hit obscenely hard with Terra.
Oh yeah, that's true.
As far as like, so Clamperl wrecks. Does Gorebyss wreck? Or
So
just sit
Gorebyss
there and
has had some use. I can't remember which generation. I think either maybe 14 or 17 maybe. Having Swift Swim is pretty good. If there's not a lot of if it's a low power format and you have Swift Swim and there's a rain guy, someone's going to try to make you work. And having Shell Smash and Swift Swim does let you do some very silly things. However, Omastar also gets Shell Smash and Swift Swim, but Gorebyss is faster, and I think Pure Water would be a better typing for setting up.
I mean, the closest, like we said, the closest we can get to an animal, this is the Snipe-Eel, and the most they've ever found in their stomachs were like small crustaceans. So, like we said, they're not slurping anything up. I mean, to be honest, it's such a terrible hunting strategy to like try and dissolve your prey that the diving bell spiders, which is what Araquanid is based on, they have to bring their prey to the air bubbles they create in order for their venom to work. So again, it's my least favorite of the Pokemon we're talking about today. Also, was never much for like the pink mermaidy vibes, and that's just a me thing more than anything else.
Yeah, it's funny because it's the much more that vibes, but it's also from a sort of lore thing. It's a scarier Pokemon.
Yeah, it's absolutely horrifying. If there's one Pokemon you don't want to run into the deep sea, it's this thing that sucks out your organs. But at the same time, in that generation, when you started digging around some of the old caves down there, you did run into Relicanth. And I love Relicanth. He's so cool. Chris, have you ever heard how they found the
I'm
coelacanth?
aware of a coelacanth because they were just found him at a fish market, and they were like, "That thing's extinct," and they were like, "We catch this every Friday."
How do you know the person's name who found it? If you don't,
No.
that's okay. I just learned it today.
No.
So her name was Marjorie Courtney Latimer. She was actually a museum curator back in the 1930s. And after she discovered it on that fish market, to this day, the genus for the two coelacanth species are named Latmeria in honor of her contributions to actually finding it before someone could eat it. Weirdly enough, you're not supposed to eat it because it just makes you horribly sick and gives you indigestion. Apparently, it's not good for you.
Unfortunately.
But we thought they went extinct 66 million years ago, and it just showed up at a fish market. I mean, I don't think people realize just how weird of a time that would be. Like today's day and age, like to just go down to a farmer's market and just find this one random little dinosaur that should have been extinct years ago. That's basically the equivalent.
Do you want to know where I first learned about coelacanths?
Was it Pokemon?
No, it was not Pokemon.
What was
It
it?
was a game that did it first.
Animal
Animal
Crossing?
Crossing.
Yeah.
When
Yeah,
did the
that'll
first
do
Animal
it.
Crossing come out?
Before Gen 3.
2001. Yeah.
There you go.
Well, it came out on the GameCube in America in 2002.
So with Relicanth, I love that they kept its look. Like they barely changed it at all with what a coelacanth actually looks like. They didn't need to.
They were like this. They were like, this is good. This is good.
And this is fine. It's kind of like Flamigo. It's like,
Yeah.
this is weird enough. We don't need anything else. They did replace its story a little bit. So instead of they replaced Fish Market with Deep Sea Expedition. They also said that Relicanth eats microscopic organisms, but real coelacanths are carnivorous. They tend to feed on fish, larger invertebrates like crustaceans. So they do eat like solid food. They're not just going after little microorganisms. These fish have been around for 400 million years, and we think they've gone unchanged for over 100 million. There apparently used to be more diverse versions of them out there, but today we only know of 2 species that are living in our ocean today. I mean, when I was playing on Showdown more often, this guy would come up every now and again on like the scroll through, and I gotta say, Head Smash plus Rockhead is a delightful combination, and I enjoy it immensely.
Yeah, I've used it I use him in game a lot. The defense is real. I think I've looked at it several times for like very niche competitive uses. I don't think I've ever used it. I don't think he's in the game right now. Like with Terra, he might not be bad. Head Smash is a hell of a drug. Rockhead
Yeah,
Head Smash is pretty nuts.
it feels good. Feels real good.
Now I'm saying not just that, but Swift Swim Head Smash is also a hell of a drug.
Fish go burr. Actually, how fast would he be going at that? Like, okay,
55,
55.
so he's outspeeding most things. He's effectively
He-
speed tying things like Ogre Pond.
Yeah,
Gross.
so which is like not the best, but it's not terrible. If it's the fire Ogre it's gonna go away, no matter what move you use. That's still pretty good.
I want to say it got some use in Scarlet and Violet, or Sword and Shield. It does have not the deepest move pool, but it has enough.
Yes,
And
Rockhead, liquidation. There's nothing else required.
yeah,
We're
and
fine.
if you Dynamaxed it, you were getting the max power Dynamax moves off of Head Smash, but you weren't taking recoil, and you had Swift Swim.
Ah,
Wait,
that's
never mind. You
beautiful.
turn off your Swift Swim because you would make sand with Max Rockfall.
Yeah.
Oh, well, hopefully it learns a flying type move. We can boost the speed. There was one thing I read in the decks that was weird, and that apparently Relicanth is just like Marjorie. Relicanth is named after the dude who found it. So I'm trying to think like, what would that dude's name be? Like, Relicanth after the man.
Canthony.
just Canthony.
Canthony.
Canthony. Okay, cool. That's the name we're going with. So I didn't know how much time we had, so I made a bunch of other Pokemon. I think we have time for like 2 more. To keep the Gen 3 train going, Wailord is a beast. I love him so much.
Big whale.
But
Made of helium.
him big whale. But like the depth that he can dive to is stupid. Like
Is it similar
insane.
to other whale? Is it to like real whales?
It's way further down. Okay, so the deepest diving whale ever is Curvier's beaked whale. The deepest they've ever been able to track one down, and this was like a crazy maniac of a whale, went down 2,992 meters.
Okay.
Wailord can dive 3,048 meters. So
The boss.
it's basically it's relatively equal, all things considered. The difference is the beaked whale is not very big. They're one of the smallest of the baleen whales, and Wailord is an absolute monster. Like, I don't know what's going on inside this creature's body to let it do that, but like I think yeah, go ahead.
I'll say I had a hypothesis, but please go ahead.
I think it is because it's called the float whale. I think everything in its body just gets really flat.
That was what I was gonna say. I think just goes
Yeah, I mean, like a leatherback sea turtle, their shell is not hard; it's squishy. So I really would love to deep ocean dive and just watch a large flat whale start diving down looking for food. But Wailord is absolutely insane.
Doesn't Wailord get a flying move?
Bounce, yeah. Gotta bounce up
I
to
just
the
remember
surface.
I remember getting max airstreamed by a Wailord in Sword and Shield.
Yeah, yeah, that'll happen sometimes. I think the only other, well, I wanted to talk about Golispod, but I feel like we should mention that Lantern. If you saw one in the ocean, what do we did the math once at a convention, didn't they? Like the light can shine from a lantern for 3 miles underwater.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that like what was it like the math on that? Was that it could kill everyone by doing that?
It was, I
Because
think,
it's
the energy output required would be like that more than the observable uniforms. First, because of how well water diffuses light, and 3 miles of light or of diffusion from water would just be such an insane thing to overcome. Like it would really only work by just vaporizing the water, all of the water.
Yeah. Yeah, and even like lowballing it, it's like, no, that's just several supernovas. Don't worry about it. But I think it was years later, but they finally created another deep sea Pokemon that I really liked. That was Golispod. And Golispod is just absolutely one of the most base designs that I've ever seen. Like Pokemon just cooked with that one. Now,
you also just like Guzma.
yeah, I mean, like to be like Guzma. Yeah, no, they are underappreciated. Team Skull is underappreciated, but Golispod, absolute banger of a Pokemon. They only ruined it with its ability, but everything else pretty solid.
One
They
day,
are,
one day we'll have.
yeah,
It'll be
we'll
good.
give them a hidden ability that's literally anything else,
And now
and we'll
that
be
they've
just
given,
fine.
they clearly had him designed to be like a first, like he'd come in first impression, take a hit, bounce out, do it again. But now they've given other Pokemon first impression. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it just
just let
doesn't
him do it.
let him just give him sharpness or something, anything.
Um
They are,
wait,
yeah.
Lucas, real quick. Do you know how big Golisopod is?
Oh, I had it pulled up, but I don't want to look
Oh,
for
he's
suspense.
huge.
How big is it?
It's 6'7" and
What
230
basketball
pounds.
player is it the size of? All of them?
Ironically, it is almost the exact same size and weight as Luka Doncic.
How about that?
Luka Doncic is 6'7", 230.
Oh my god.
Luka Doncic after crushing a couple pizzas is Gliscod.
We need to find NBA players and hand them Pokemon cards based on their size. Like that's
Yes.
YouTube money right there. That is like we use connections to get into the game. It's like, yo, LeBron, here's your size, and just like walk away. And that's our
This thing
thing.
wonder
That's
what-
the
walls,
pitch.
this thing walls Calyrex Ice and Urshifu, but
Are
it's
you on
not in the
Urshifu?
game.
Oh, it's not in the game. Oh,
No.
okay.
For a second, I was like,
No.
"Oh my god, this guy with Shadow Rider and Wheezing, it's over." I had dreams for a second, and it gets Wide Guard. Oh my god, put him in the game.
It actually just got buffed in Pokemon Go, and it's pretty top meta.
Did it? Awesome.
Yeah. Fury
I mean,
Cutter
it is
just got
based.
buffed. So actually Bug is actually really, really good in Go right now, Don. Like Fortress is top meta.
I love Fortress.
I mean, it is based on a deep sea isopod, so it should be loved. Those They are the example of deep sea gigantism. They are that like random weirdo who's like, oh, on land and in the sun, I'm this tiny little guy. Meanwhile, in the depths of the ocean, with nothing but oxygen and time and Bergman's principle, I'll just get really, really, really big. Although weirdly enough, they can go a long time without food because of that, despite their size. I don't know how they figured it out, but the Aquarium of the Pacific put it down that they can live up to 4 years without food in an aquarium, which begs the question: what kind of sick aquarium was keeping them without food for 4 years?
Yeah,
That's a bad
not
aquarium. I don't
very
like that.
polite. I have seen a video of one moving faster than you think. It's in like a
Really?
it looks almost like a deep sea like specimen trap or a crab trap, and it's in there with like what looks like a dogfish, and it sort of just
Mm-hmm.
tackles it.
Not bad. I mean, I'm sure they get a burst of speed, but like I think
It swam. I didn't like that it swam.
most people, when you see this thing and then compare it to like Golisopod's stats, it's like, okay, it makes sense that you put it at 40 speed. But like if it's able to like tackle things, then I guess that's a little bit different. But it's still, oh, it's a really cool looking Pokemon. Okay, if you were gonna give it another ability, we got to start wrapping up soon. But if you wanted to give it another ability, I'm all for sharpness. I think sharpness would do it just fine.
Does it have any cutting moves at all though?
Slash, Razor Shell,
Does it get razor
Fury
shell? Okay,
Cutter.
that's something.
What about would tinted lens be relevant?
I think I mean bug water is pretty good already. The only thing there is does anything resist both? No, bog water is actually pretty good neutral coverage. But that said, it's even better neutral coverage when you just get to click it into everything. Because
And
a few
so
things like Dragonite and Dragon Flying resist both.
ghost fire.
It'd just be weak to water.
So you wouldn't do that, okay? Ghost steel.
It's still not weak to water, or still not resisting water.
It resists bug though.
Yeah. No, that 4x resists bug, but you could just water attack.
But wouldn't 4x bug be better?
No, Tented Lens just evens them out basically. So it doesn't like
Oh,
reboost
okay,
it.
okay.
And it's if I remember right, it like basically makes neutral or like a 1x resist into neutral, but a 4x resist is still just goes to like a 2x resist.
Okay.
I do kind of like that. I watched a YouTube video today that was talking about buffing Golispod, and they brought up shell armor would be really cool because you could wall both Urshifus. So I'm not going to steal shell armor because that would kind of ruin it. And I'm not going to say something like huge power because that would be dumb.
You
Once
know, when in doubt, intimidate.
it is very intimidating. I do think intimidate.
I mean, there are plenty of Pokemon that have intimidate that wouldn't be that intimidating to look at. This right
Does it
here.
get U-turn?
Yeah, it gets
It's a
U-turn.
bug. Yeah, so you've got intimidate U-turn. You're now officially usable. Congratulations, Golispod.
Oh
you
no,
just
it
give
it
this
doesn't.
giant.
It does not get U-turn.
Okay, never mind.
Does it
You
get
are
flip
worthless.
turn?
That would be
No,
so
it doesn't
good.
get.
No, it wasn't in Gen
doesn't get-
9.
Oh, you're right.
It's
Yeah, it doesn't get flip
unavailable.
turn either.
It
I
doesn't
mean,
get any of
it
that
didn't get
stuff.
flip turn in Gen. It didn't get flip turn in Gen 8 either.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Ah, what a bummer. It does get X scissors too, so that as a
I think
TM. So there you
sharpness.
go for
I think
sharpness.
sharpness is real. Yeah, you've got both stabs and probably some other cutting moves. I actually like sharpness a lot. I was trying to think of something
Mhm.
that would work well with first impression because it is a very handy ability. Um, you could kind of steal Haxor's niche and give it Mold Breaker, and then you can just nuke for a giraffe, which would be fun.
That'd be fun.
Actually, every priority blocking guy is weak to bug.
Well, there you go. That solves that problem. We've done it. We've dived to the depths of the ocean. Like that's where you have to go to find all the things to stop both Urshifu and the priority teams. It's just we James Cameroned it down to the bottom and pulled this thing
This
up
thing
like
would wall Urshifu, nuke Rillaboom, and Ensign. Give us the bug.
yeah, give us the bug. It's yeah, I'm glad that this is the podcast that tackled the hard truths of the deep ocean is scary and the bug from the bottom of the ocean will wreck things. Although I
Golispod
will
did
say,
actually almost cut worlds, I think a couple years ago.
Trick Room team?
No, not if I remember right. It was on a really cool team with Raikou as well. But there was a connection issue with the switches, and they ended up having to go to an overtime game, and they lost in overtime. And it was
Oh.
pretty sad end to a really cool team.
Well, Chris, I asked you at the beginning, would you like to dive into the deep ocean? Would you, after learning about some of the cool critters that live down there, would you like to change your mind?
No,
Me neither. I'm not
I'm
going
good.
down there. Yeah, I'm not going down
I'm
there
good.
either. There's monsters. I'm not doing any of that. But it is pretty cool that there's still a lot to be done out there. I really hope they can keep doing research dives, because if there's anything that video with the gulper eels shows us, is that getting scientists to sit there and watch fish be dumb and weird is probably the most entertaining television you'll ever get. I mean, I'm
Yes.
trying to think, were there any other deep sea Pokemon we missed? I think we
I
got
mean,
most of them.
probably.
Oh, so
Yeah,
it got
probably.
Golispod got 17th at Worlds in 2022, and it got 13th at the London Open, also in that year.
Okay, so yeah, no, if we put this bug in the game, we're talking about something that's pretty unstoppable then. I like the sound of it. Boys, as always, it is a pleasure and a privilege. Thank you guys for joining me into the deep dive into the deep ocean critters, especially you, Don, because you actually dive, and it would be really weird if I was talking about it without you here.
I was glad I was able to make it. Sorry for the late start on my end.
Nah, we're busy. Life's full of things that can't be helped. I am gonna go get to editing this sucker. But hey, thank you all so much for listening. Have a wonderful rest of your day or night. We'll catch you guys in the next episode. Bye, everybody.